Assalamu alaikum. So, dear first year students, hope that you are well. I am also fine by the grace of Allah. So, today I would like to deliver a lecture on a famous poem. So, here you can find that our topics today: A Prayer for My Daughter, another important poem by W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats, the national poet of Ireland. So, you are welcome to lecture number 9. So, let's start now. So my dear students, here you can find that after this lesson, you will be able to understand the poem very easily. And also you will be able to make the answer of the following questions. So here are the questions. Very important question. This poem is very much important for your exam. So what types of virtues does he desire from his daughter in the poem? This is the first question, a pair for my daughter. So the question is what types of virtue? What types of virtue, good qualities, does he desire from his daughter in this poem, A Prayer for My Daughter? So the title itself declares a prayer for my daughter. That means this poem is a prayer and it is a prayer for his daughter that his daughter should achieve like these qualities, these virtues in this way. So there is the question is that what types of virtue does yet or does the poet desire for his daughter? So another question, write an essay on the personal elements. What type of personal elements or autobiographical elements noticed in the poem? Same answer maybe. The two questions have the similar answer. So here is the question that what types of autobiographical elements or personal elements do you find in this poem? Or write a note on personal elements that the poet used in this poem. So another is that critical appreciation of the poem. Another, the use of symbols in the poem. You know, William Butler, W.B. Yeats or William Butler Yeats use so many symbols in his poems. So these are the important questions. The first one is very much important for your exam, for your coming exam. Virtues. What are the virtues that the poet desires for his daughter? So it's a personal, what are the personal? These two questions are very much important. So my dear students, let's start now. So here you can find an image of a father with his daughter. So the name of the poem, A Prayer for My Daughter by W.B. Yeats. So every guardian, every parents, every father and mother are very much cautious about their children, and the poet also is very much cautious about his daughter. So W.B. Yeats is a picture of W. Yeats, an image. It's an image of W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats. You know, W.B. Yeats or William Butler Yeats is an Irish poet. He is an Irish poet. He is the national poet of Ireland. You know, he is an influential poet of 20th century English poetry. So William Butler Yeats has been recognized as a great modern poet of 20th century, you know. J.B. Beach, one of the critics, calls him the finest of British poets of the modern age. He is one of the most important British poets in the modern era. So mainly, he is the national poet of Ireland. Mainly, it is also very much important. So these are the subject matter. This here is some information about the poet and also the poem. So here you can find that his poetry, Yeats' poetry, deals with a variety of themes ranging from ancient legend. William Butler Yeats used legendary story, ancient legends in his poems or any writings. Mythology, William Butler Yeats uses myth. He uses mythology. Folklore, he uses folk story, folklore. Politics also, history and love, and constantly creates new myths of his own. It is very much important that is found in his another poem. So these are the themes that William Butler Yeats use in his poems. So a prayer for my daughter is a reflection of the poet's love for his daughter. So in this poem we find Yeats' love for his daughter. That is why he deeply prays for some good qualities for his daughter. So it is also about surviving the turmoil of the contemporary world. So where passions have been separated from reasons, his work is uniformly good and his creations are quite extensive, and he writes with ease on themes adopted from every sphere of life. Mainly, he takes themes from normal every spheres of life, every section of life. So in this way, these are the this is in brief about W. Yeats and his writing style. So my dear students, now I'd like to give you some idea of the main issues of the poem. So what are the main issues? You know, it is a large poem. So as you are the students of first year and it is a large poem, so I didn't take here the main text, the original text. So in your home, you open your book, volume 2, Introduction to Poetry, volume 2. You open the book and you find the similarities in that line and in the ideas. So if you read the poem, you will find these issues are used in the poem. These topics are highlighted in this poem. So I don't like to discuss the poem line by line. Just I want to give you an idea about the poem. I want to explain the ideas on the poem of the poem. So here is given some issues, some ideas. You can find here that love and anxiety of a father for his daughter. In this poem, you will find the love of a parents, the love of a father, and how the father feels anxiety in himself about their children, about his daughter. This is one of the most important issue of this poem. Here we find the love and anxiety of a father for his daughter, and another poet's hope for his daughter. You know, in this poem, the poet himself, W. B. Yeats, or here the poet represents all the father. Here the speaker or the writer or the father of this poem represents all the father of this world. Every father of this world hopes for his daughter or children these types of desires. What types of desire they want? This is noted in the poem. So another is his expectation. What is the expectation of a father? Here we find his expectation, the poet's expectation of her becoming a very beautiful woman with virtuous soul. Not only beautiful, he desires his daughter would also be virtuous. Beauty with virtuous soul, not only beauty. The speaker is the poet himself, you know. In this poem, the speaker is the poet himself talking to his daughter. Here he talks with his daughter, but his daughter is sleeping. So the poem is a conventional and didactic tone. In this poem, the poem is a conventional poem, and it has a didactic purpose, you know. It has instructive. The poet wants to instruct. The poet wants to give some instruction to the human beings. That is why we find here a didactic purpose, a didactic tone. And in this poem also we find here a gloomy emotion. Here the poet feels a gloomy emotion. He is very much gloomy and uncertain. He is an uncertainty. The father is very much uncertain about the future of his daughter. And this uncertainty creates gloomy emotion in himself. And that is why he hope, the poet or the speaker hope something for his daughter. And with hope, he is also in fear. And fear of the speaker, we find also the speaker is in fearful situation. So, my dear students, these are the main issues of the poem. Now, I'd like to discuss the poem stanza by stanza. So, here you can find stanza 1. So in your home, you open your book and you find stanza 1 in your book line by line. And here I will give you the main ideas, main issues of every stanza. So I would like to discuss stanza in general, and in your home with text you can find these types of ideas. As it is a large poem, I don't like to discuss it line by line. So I will give you the discussion on stanza wise discussion. So in the first stanza, you can find that the first stanza express at the very beginning of the poem. At the very beginning of the poem, we find the poet feels a type of tension. He is in uncertain. He is in uncertainty. He feels tension in his inner self, inner mind for his daughter, who is sleeping now, a very small daughter. So, and then what is going on in his mind and what is going on in the surrounding atmosphere. This is narrated in the first stanza, and what he hopes. These are generally, gradually develop the ideas of the poem. So in the stanza 1, we find that the poem A Prayer for My Daughter opens with the image of the child sleeping. At the very beginning, you find that the line, that image of the child sleeping, his child is sleeping in a cradle, a type of special a type of special bed for the children. In a cradle, half hidden by its hood, the child sleeps innocently. You know, every child is innocent. So the child sleeps innocently amidst the howling storm in the surrounding atmosphere. In the outside of the house, there is a storm outside, but Yates could not settle down due to the storm inside. There is a storm in outside, in natural storm, but in the same way, there is a storm also inside of the speaker. There is a storm in himself. What type of storm it is? The storm howling symbolizes, the external storm symbolizes distraction mentioned by the poet in the second coming. You know, it is another important poem, the second coming. The new civilization arrives. This is hinted in the second coming poem. So the wind bred in Atlantic has no obstacles. In the Atlantic, the wind which is spread from the storm which is spread from Atlantic, it has no obstacles. So except the state of Lady Gregory. So it is also a place referring to the poet's patroness and Bear Hill. There is a hill, Lady Gregory. It's wood. It's the name of an wood near Atlantic Ocean, and beside there is a hill. So this is the surrounding atmosphere. So settings of the poem, very first stanza. The direct impact of the wind, meaning to the force of the outside world. The direct impact, it has a meaning of the forces of the outside world, especially on his daughter. He thinks about his daughters. There are so many strong storm in outside, so he is worries about his daughter. Because of this great gloom, he walked and prayed. As there is a storm in outside, so he cannot sit down. He is in tension. He with gloomy situation he walked, and by walking he prayed. He prayed for his daughter to be protected. He prayed every we also whenever we face storm at that time we also in this situation we prayed. So in this time we find that in the first stanza it is described he prayed for his daughter from the physical storm outside and the political storm brewing across Ireland. And at that time, the political situation of Ireland was not good actually. And this political situation gives an uncertainty, creates an uncertainty in that country. So in this way, in the first stanza, we find that there is a storm outside the house, and the baby, the child is sleeping, and the father of this baby, the father of this child, the speaker himself, the poet himself, feels very tension. There is a gloomy situation, gloomy atmosphere in his mind, and he is also very much tension about the political system of Ireland. that declares uncertainty. So in this uncertain situation from external nature, he prays, he prays for the safety of his daughter. So in the first stanza, the poet gives a setting, the poet gives a setting of the poem and also shows external storm in the nature. So in the first stanza, this is described. So in the second stanza, we can find it in the second stanza. In the second stanza, we find a prayer for my daughter in this poem. Yeats worries about the future. My dear students, these are the topic. These are the topic, main features of every stanza. In every stanza, there is a main issue. So these red colored line are the main issue of every stanza. So in the second stanza, we find Yeats worries about the future. In this stanza, the poet is worried about future are further explained. That starts from the first stanza. It is also further explained in the second stanza. So he hears the sea screaming upon the tower, under the bridge, and elms above the flooded stream. The onomatopoeia word scream and the flooded stream symbolizes the poet's overwhelming anxiety for his daughter. So the lines, the imageries or the figure of speech expresses the anxiety of the father for his daughter. Also, it refers to the great flood in the Bible. You know, William Butler Yeats' mythology or allusions or biblical reference in his poems. He used myth in his poems. So it is also there is biblical reference, the flood that was happened in at the time of Noah. So this is also mentioned here. So due to his hunting fear, as he is hunting by fear, as he is very much fearful about his daughter, so he imagines the future coming out of sea and dances to the frenzied drum, referring to war and bloodshed. There is dancing, there is dances in the waves in the sea, and these dances of the sea, what are symbolically refers the war and bloodshed in the country. That seems the dances of the war of bloodshed. So in the last line of the second stanza, the poet employs paradox: murderers, innocence, murderers, innocence, innocence. People are become murdered in the time of war in any country. So to contrast the world and his daughters, so which also recalls the images of blood dimmed tide, the second coming, that is mentioned in the second coming, another poem. So my dear students, in the first two stanza, you find a setting of the poem, the surrounding outside atmosphere of the house where they now staying, the father staying with his daughter, and also what is the political situation of Ireland is also hinted in the poem, and what is the surrounding atmosphere in nature is also hinted in the first two stanza, and these two stanza gives a description, gives a complete setting of the poem, and these uh, two stanza gives a perfect picture of that time which presents uncertainty in the mind of the writer. So in the third stanza, now I would like to say something about third stanza. Here you can find that in the third stanza of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats prays for his daughter. So now his prayer starts, what he desires. From this, you can take the help from the answers of these questions. Here, you know, this was the question, my dear students. What are the virtues does he desire from his daughter for his daughter in the poem? So, what are the virtues? What are the virtues? What are the good qualities? What are the things that Yeats desire? So now this answer starts from the third stanza. So you can starts from the third stanza, that in the third stanza, prayer for my daughter, Yeats prays for his daughter. His first daughter is that he wants to be, at first he said he wants safety for his daughter. And for this safety, he wants some good quality that this daughter may protect herself in future by achieving some quality. and he desires this quality. So the one, he says that his daughter to be gifted with beauty. First quality he desires for his daughter, that his daughter is gifted with beauty. Beauty is very much important, essential. So at the same time, he does not want her beauty to distort or makes her dependent on her beauty for everything. Beauty, over beauty, or super beauty is also destructive. Destructive. So the poet never wants such types of beauty which brings distraction. The poet never want such types of beauty which brings distraction for his daughter. So this is said here. Further, he does not want her to become proud or vain, that she spends all day staring at the mirror and fails to have na- natural companionship. So normally beautiful ladies are mainly depends on other. They becomes lazy maybe, but here the poet does not desire such types of beauty. He wants a moderate beauty. Moderate beauty. The poet implies too much beauty. Here we find the explain. The poet implies too much beauty to be a dangerous one. Too much beauty to be a dangerous and fine. That he wants her to be beautiful enough to secure a husband. He wants her to be beautiful enough. He wants such types of beauty that can secure her husband only. So in this way, in the third stanza, you can find that William Butler Yeats for her daughter a virtue, a quality, that is beauty, but this beauty is not excessive beauty, over beauty. He wants a moderate beauty, such types of beauty which makes him to secure her life only, to secure her husband, protect her husband. So in the next stanza, in the stanza 4, you can find that in the stanza 4, a prayer for my daughter, Yeats substantiates his view on how excessive beauty has always been a source of trouble and distraction. So in this stanza, he explains how excessive beauty, how over beauty has always been a source of trouble and distraction. So he turns to Helen. He gives an example from Greek mythology. He uses the name of Helen. Helen was a beautiful lady, and for this Hellenic beauty, there gives a distraction. The Troy city is totally distracted for her beauty. So in this way, he uses this myth in this stanza for. He turns to Helen in Greek mythology, considered to be the most beautiful woman on earth, brought the doom upon her. Her beauty makes her to be doomed. So and many others, and so many others examples in the world history. So the image of Helen evokes another figure, Aphrodite, so who rose out of the spray. So the union of Aphrodite with Hephaestus, Bendilist Smith brings to mind the Morgan McBride episode. So Morgan was the beloved of the poet himself, but Morgan, every time Morgan reject W.B. Yeats for her beauty, and the beauty of Morgan also brings distraction in her life and also the life of her husband. So it makes the poet these examples of the beautiful lady, of the super beautiful ladies, uh, gives an idea. It makes the poet wonder if the beautiful woman eats something stupid for salad, that they make a stupid decision which brings misery forever. That means he tries to say that over beautiful ladies become stupid, and they takes so many stupid decision, and in this way they brings misery in their life. So the rich horn of plenty, this is a phrase used in the lines, is suggestive of courtesy, aristocracy, and ceremony that is lost by those women who make stupid decision. So in this stanza 4 we find that the poet wants a moderate beauty for her daughter. He never wants excessive beauty, because there are so many examples of ladies of excessive beauty who brings distraction in their life. So in this way now, in the stanza 5, so there are 10 stanza here. So now I'd like to discuss with you stanza 5. So here you can see that in stanza 5 of Prayer for My Daughter, the poet continues with what he wants his daughter. So what he expresses what he wants about his for his daughter. So he wants his daughter to learn to be compassionate and kind. This is most important virtue that is very essential for human beings. Every human beings in this world must be kind and they must be compassionate. So William Butler Yeats also wants his daughter to learn to achieve to be compassionate and kind. So many times men who believe to love and loved by the beautiful woman faced disappointed compared to those found love in modest yet compassionate women. Moreover, he says modest and courteous people attract hearts than those with beauty, referring to his own marriage. So ultimately, he makes it clear that he wants his daughter to be an agreeable young woman than an arrogant beauty. So he wants her daughter to be learn passionate, compassionate, and also to be kind. That is, he will be a good man, a perfect human beings. So in the sixth, in the stanza number 6, in the sixth stanza, we can say that in the stanza 6 of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats continues to talk about his hopes and expectation for his daughter. So as she grew up, the poet thinks as she grew up, he wants her to be happy and content. My dear student, this is very much important point. This is very much important. William Butler William Butler Yeats wants his daughter to be happy and content. He wants his daughter will be happy what she has, and she will be content. She will be satisfied about her life. Without satisfaction, life is incomplete. So that is why William Butler Yeats in the stanza 6, he gives her ideas, he gives his intention that his daughter achieves this virtue, this quality in herself. So she wants her to become a flourishing hidden tree, a flourishing hidden tree, and her thoughts like a linnet, referring to its innocence and cheerfulness. Like a linnet, he wants her to be satisfied in herself and, in fact, others with her happiness. So, further, he wants her to live like a laurel rooted in a particular place. So, the poet reveals his wish on his daughter being rooted in the tradition. So, in this way, we find in the stanza 7, Yeats continues to talk about self contentment woman. She in this stanza we find William Butler Yeats desire another good qualities, another important virtue for his daughter, that his daughter achieve self contentment woman. Self contentment woman. Self contentment is very important. The human being must be self contentment. Who is dependent on himself is called self contentment. So in this stanza, William Butler Yeats desire his daughter must be self-contentment woman. So in stanza 7, a prayer for my daughter, he believed that kind, self-content, traditionally rooted women are in, incorruptible. The poet considers hatred to be the cause of all evil. The poet thinks that hatred, it's a bad quality of human beings. Hatred to be the cause of all evil, and prays that her to be left of that evil. That means another prayer. The poet thinks that his daughter may not achieve hatred for human beings. So further, he believed that a soul his daughter achieves a soul free from hatred, who will preserve its innocence and hatred. Just as the storm outside can tear labels from sturdy trees, turmoil and war cannot break a strong woman. So in the stanza 7, we find that William Butler Yeats' desire, his daughter achieves self-contentment and also achieves a pure heart where there is no hatred for human beings. So in this way, in stanza 8, you can find that in stanza 8 of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet implores his daughter to shun passion and will feelings that he considered as the weakness of beautiful women. Well feelings. These feelings, well feelings, what type of well feelings? She must be temperate because people who love deeply could hate deeply too. So hate destroys people and makes them do cruel things, especially intellectual hatred, which is worst for all kinds intellectual hatred. So the poet reflects upon his emotional state when Morgan rejected him to marry John McBride. So you know Morgan rejecting W.B. Yeats, marry with McBride. So he wants his daughter to experience neither the disappointment nor hatred. So in this way, he desires his daughter never achieves well feelings. He his heart his heart will be built without hatred for anyone. So then in the stanza 9, in stanza 9 we find that the ninth stanza continues to describe the impact of hatred and the benefit of staying away from hatred. What are the benefit of staying away of hatred? So here he says, once hatred is driven out, the soul could recover its innocence. If anyone becomes successful to drive out the hatred from his mind, so it will be a place of innocence. The heart will be a place of innocence. So then the soul would be free to explore and find that it is self-delighting, self-appeasing, and self-affirmating. So according to the poet, the ideal woman makes everyone happy and comfortable, despite all storms of misfortunes that come in her way. She so despite all storms of misfortune that come in her way, so ideal woman can make happy everyone in any situation. So he deserves that his daughter will be an ideal woman. So she is a stronghold for people around her, and her will would be that of heavens, for she has a clear mind. So if there is clear mind for his daughter, so the life surroundings herself will be heaviness. So in the last stanza and final stanza, we can find that the poet says, in the last stanza, you can find their students. You, in your book, you can say, in the last stanza of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet expresses his final wish. His final wish, he prays that his daughter to be married to a good husband. This is another wish. He thinks his daughter, he thinks a good man, a good husband for his daughter, a good marriage for his daughter, who takes her to a home with aristocratic values and traditions. So there he believed that neither arrogance nor hatred of common folks could be found, but morality and purity. So further, the poet does not want her to live a decadent life. He concludes by stating that his daughter would be rooted in spiritual values like a laurel tree. His daughter will be a spiritual values like a laurel tree. It's fantastic, beautiful tree. So in this way, in the poem, we find that the poet's desire for for his daughter. So now, my dear students, I would like to discuss with you how you can prepare the answer. So here you can find that what types of virtue, the question, you know, it is an important question for your exam. Here is the question: what types of virtues does A desire from for his daughter in the poem "A Prayer for My Daughter"? Desire from his daughter. From his daughter, he desired these types of virtue. So, introductory sentence. At first, you can give some introductory sentence. So, listen to me, please, attentively. Listen to me. So, in to prepare any question, at first you should give some introductory sentence. So, in this question, you can say that a prayer for my daughter is the finest example of the prayer of a father in the history of English literature. So, it is a nice poem composed by W.B. Yeats. W.B. Yeats is the speaker of this poem and he is the father. So in this poem we find W.B. Yeats desires, W.B. Yeats expects some good qualities, some virtues from his daughters. He desires that whenever his daughter will grow up, whenever his daughter will be an adult person, at that time he will achieve these good qualities to make her life perfect. So now I would like to discuss what types of virtues W. Yeats desire from his daughters through the light of the poem A Prayer for My Daughter. So in this way, you can arrange the introductory sentence and then you can start your answer. How the poem starts. At first, you can narrate that in the first two stanzas, we find the poet gives a setting to mention the atmosphere, and by this atmosphere, the poet feels a tension in his mind, and he feels an uncertainty in his mind. That is why he prays for for his daughter. So then, what is his praise? Stanza wise, you can describe. So in the from stanza 1 2, you can describe or Yeats or it about the future. So he desire some virtues. So in this way, you can explain under this point, you can explain. So then Yeats prays for his daughter to be gifted with beauty. You know, already I have discussed it. So then you find that you can say that we find W.B. Yeats prays for his daughter to be achieves the quality of beauty. He thinks that his daughter contains beauty, but this beauty may be moderate beauty. It is not excessive beauty. So in this way, you can explain. So then, no excessive, not excessive beauty, but moderate beauty. So then you can say he wants his daughter to learn to be compassionate and kind. He wants these types of virtues. Already, these all the items are stated in stanzas. So then you can find that he wants more. He wants her to be happy and content. This is also his desire that his daughter achieves these qualities. And then we find it is you can take the help from stanza 6 and you can quote. You can also use quote. So not to be self-centered. This is also you can find from stanza 7. You can say that then we find William Butler Yeats desire for from her daughter that from his daughter that his daughter will be a self-centered woman, will be a self-centered woman, because self-centered man woman can handle the problems of their life very finely, very nicely. So in this way you can explain. So then his daughter to shun passion and well feelings like hatred, cruelty. So here you can explain that he expects from his daughter that his daughter in his mind never felt well feelings. That is why there is no cruelty and hatred in her mind for anyone. And you can take help from stanza 8 and 9. And finally, we find that he prays that his daughter to be married to a good husband. This is you can take help from stanza 10. So last prayer is that a good marriage. He deserves for her a good marriage, a good husband. So in conclusion, so you can prepare a conclusion in your own way. You may say that in conclusion, we can say that in brief, in fine, we can say that as a father, William Butler Yeats feels gloomy in his mind and he is very much uncertain about the future of his daughter for the present condition of the country Ireland and also natural surrounding atmosphere. So that is why he prays for her daughter some virtues. So he praised such types of virtues. Those virtues are mainly essential for every human being. So this is not only a prayer of a single father only. This is the prayer of every father of this world. And every human beings should achieve these qualities. In this way, you can create a conclusion. So then, uh, another question: personal or autobiographical elements in the poem. What type of personal elements do you find in the poem? So at first you will give an introductory idea, and then what are stated here. These all are the personal. My dear students, these all are the personal elements. So stanza wise, you will give the answer stanza wise, stanza based answer. Then this stanza we find this is his personal experience. So as it is his personal desire for his own daughter, so it is autobiographical, complete autobiographical. It is a personal poem. So in this way, you can prepare the answer of this question using from the stanza, using the answer like the same in the first stanza, first question. So then another important question is that symbols in the poem. You know, William Butler Yeats uses so many symbols in this poem. So here are some important symbols. You can take help from here through mixing with your books. So at first, daughter sleeping. What is the sleeping symbolizes here? The daughter sleeping symbolizes innocent humanity. Innocent, innocent humanity is symbolized through this. The storm symbolizes the time of violence and anarchy. So crazy salad symbolizes style of living, lavish style. Normally, beautiful women lead lavish style, lavish life. So it is also symbolized crazy salad. So horn of plenty symbolizes abundance and prosperity. So as prosperity grows, there are so many problems arises. So this is also symbolized here. So in this way, William Butler Yeats used so many symbols in his poems. So you can also prepare the answers of this question. So my dear students, you're taking help from this explanation, taking help from these stanzas, from the description of the stanzas. You can prepare the answer of this question in your own way about this question. And also these two questions are very much important. One is virtues, another is personal elements. Answer may be the same. So, and in this way, you can take help from the sources. Here I use the links. Here is the source or links. You can take the help, and also your book, volume 1, volume 2. So, and then I would like to thank you very much. So, my dear students, try to prepare answer in your own way. Inshallah, you can. So, thank you very much for this day.